Welcome back to today's session. Let your thought be pure before God to predict your future. A marvelous Monday. We are in the third session of Lithosphere II, the exogenetic processes. Today we are going to see about the glaciers. A large mass of ice melts and accumulate the land area. That is also called as river of ice. The gradual transformation of snow into granular ice, that is into pieces of ice, is firn or neve. We'll see the picture of this glacier. The granular of ice and the piece of ice breaks and melts into the river. Snowfield. What do you mean by snowfield? It's a place of accumulation of ice baths. And also, what is snow line? It is with the higher altitude of permanent ice. If you see the mountain tops, you can see the snow that has been spread over on the tops. How it has been happened? This is due to the altitude of the mountain which touches the snow line, covers with the snow. You can look into the pictures of snowfield and the snow line. Now we are going to enter into erosional landforms of glaciers. Already we are seeing about all these things in different terms, isn't it? Erosional and depositional. Now we are going to see erosional landforms of glacier. It's a powerful agent. What's that agent? Erosion agent. It gets eroded very quickly because it is with the global warming. Well, what were the landforms of glaciers? Circu, Artis, Matterhorn, Ushaped Valley, Hanging Valley and Jots. We'll see everything in detail. The first one is Circu. It's a bowl-shaped armchair. If you see that Circu, it will be as like armchair. Yes, of course, you can go and sit there. Well, glacier erode the steep sides of walls on the mountain and makes a shape as bowl-shaped armchair. This is called as Circu. Here is the picture to view. The next one is Artis. This is with the narrow ridges formed when two circuits join together back to back and gets eroded with the glaciers. So when it gets eroded, it looks like a narrow knife-like ridges. Okay, children? So when these narrow knife-like ridges gets eroded, it just erode everything, the granules, the ice bars, everything down to the valley. Matterhorns is otherwise called as pyramidal peaks. It is with three or more circuits meet together. When it meets and gets eroded, it gives the formation of pyramids. Can you able to see this? Well, this is what is the third erosional form of glacier. Fourth is U-shaped valley. When the valley, the normal valley gets eroded in deeper and wider, it forms U-shaped valley. Look into the picture, you will have a clear view. So this is how it has been gets eroded. The next we are going to see is Hanging Valley. When the valley get eroded by tributary glacier that hangs, that as like hanging, okay, hangs over the main valley. Well, we'll see to the picture to understand more. This is what is hanging valley, which gets eroded from the main valley. It gets hangs. Jot. What is jot? The Glacier Valley. When the ice melts, it gets glacier, and this glacier spreads over. It's called as Glacier Valley, that partly submerged in the sea. Look into the picture. It has been just spread over as a Glacier Valley. Okay, children? Well, we'll see to the next degradation, that is with depositional landforms of glaciers. So here the fragments of rocks and boulders forms glacial debris. The landforms are moraine, drumlins, eskers, outwash plains. We'll see in detail. Moraine material deposited by glacier. We have three types of moraine: ground moraine, terminal moraine, and lateral moraine. Look into the picture for moraine. It just moves. Okay, deposition of glacier. So when the glacier gets deposited, it fills the place, the mountain heights, and extend its features. Drumlin resembles giant inverted teaspoons or like half-cut egg. So it is like half-cut egg or inverted teaspoon that lies down. So when it gets eroded, the surrounding gets eroded, it looks like a drumlin. We'll see into the other picture. Yeah, it's here. Okay. This is what is other type of depositional glacier landform, drumlin. The third one is Sisker, a long narrow ridges composed of boulders, gravel. That is a big stones, it's like that. And sand gets deposited by the stream of melting ice. Eska. So what happens when the boulders and sand gets deposited in between the valley of glacier? It just creates deposit for a long time and creates some natural vegetation over there. Here you can see some of the landforms, that is with the sand, gravels, and with the tiny spot outs. This is what is Eska. Outwash plain. It is deposited by the glacier sediments by melting ice with accumulation of sand, gravel, and silts. So this is how it gets outwashed through the plain. Well, the next formation of gradation is wind. Air blows horizontally at or near the earth's surface. You know how the air blows. So if it is heavy, it's called as wind. The aeolian process. The aeolian process is the erosional, transportational, and depositional action of wind is predominant in arid region. This process is called as aeolian process. We'll look into the wind. We cannot see the wind, isn't it, children? Just imagine that. Well, enter into erosional landforms of wind. We have types of erosional landforms: mushroom rock, Insalberg, and Artis. Mushroom rock. The rocks will be hard and soft. So, when the wind blows against the rock, the soft rock gets eroded quicker than the hard rocks. So when the soft rocks is at the bottom, it gets eroded and wears down to form the shape of mushroom. This is how It gets eroded and gives the shape. Is it as like a real mushroom, isn't it, children? Well, Insalberg, it's a German word which gives island mount as a meaning. This Insalberg, or seen in the igneous rocks, it's more resistant to the wind and rises abruptly from the surrounding. From the surrounding, it just rises up. It's like that. So what happens? The surrounding gets eroded and as like mountain or just a slight small hill. It resembles as like hill. This is what is Insalberg. Yardens. Soft layer gets eroded, leaving the irregular crust. So in between, when the wind blows and the soft layer of rocks gets eroded, wears down and leaves out the hard layers, isn't it? That was the picture of Yardens. Very nice to look. Don't move on to the imagination. It's really very quite good. Depositional landforms of wind. We have three types: sand dunes, Bhakshans, lows. Sand dunes. Sand dunes are just as like a huge mountain like with full of sand. That's all, not with the rocks, tiny particles. So how these sand dunes are being created? During the sandstorms, wind carries loads of sand. So during the speed of the wind, many tiny particles just gets eroded and pushed away or washed away from the place. When the speed gets reduces, it gets deposited in somewhere else. That is what is called as sand dunes. It's mostly seen in the desert place. You can see this picture. When the wind blows, it gets wiped away the sand and takes away from this place to deposit another place when the speed of the wind reduces. Okay, sand dunes. The next is Bhakshan. It's as like isolated crescent. Crescent you know very well. That is with the quarter moon. It's shaped sand dunes. The windward side is gently sloped and the leeward side is steep slopes. Have you seen? The windward side means it is through the which the wind blows. The direction which wind blows, it gets eroded. That gently slopes. As like you can see the picture, it's as like quarter moon. And the leeward side, the other side of the wind blows is called leeward side. It's called as steep. It just looks like steep slopes. This is what is Bhakshan. The next one is transverse dunes. Asymmetrical shape formed by alternate winds. Alternate wind in the sense this side or that side, either sides. So either it blows from the east or by the west. So in this case the transverse dunes are formed. Longitudinal dunes. This is which shift dunes blows in the same direction. So with the long narrow ridges of sand are seen over here. Very nice to see, isn't it, children? Well, loess. Deposits fine silts and porous sand in vast area. This is what is the picture. It gets deposited by the wind. The next is, yes, what is this? Waves. The next gradation is waves. It's a most powerful agent of gradation. Movement of ups and downs. How the waves looks. The water is moving up and then down. Rises up, goes down. Rises up, goes down. When we call it as tide, it will be too heavy. It rises still more little bit up and comes down. So the force of the wave, the water will be heavy over there. So the movements of ups and downs on the surface of water is called as waves. Erosional landforms of waves are sea cliff, sea cave, sea stack and wave cut platform. It will be very easy to understand. Just look into sea cliff. Sea cliff, it forms of steep rock faces. When the waves get eroded the rocks, when the waves strikes over the rocks, it gets eroded. So it forms sea cliff. We'll look into the picture. This is how the sea cliffs have been formed. You know how the cave will be. When these sea cliffs are prolonged again and again, it gets eroded. It makes a hole on the rock. That is what we call it as a sea cave. Prolonged wave attack the base of cliff to form caves. Well, the next is sea arch. So when two caves approach from either side and gets eroded, it form arch. Okay, this is what is the picture. Sea stack. Further erosion of sea cave will look like a pillar. When you see to the bottom picture, when the waves just strikes this sea arch, it gets eroded on the top, and by the left side that alone stands looking as like a pillar, isn't it? So that is what is sea stack. Wave cut platform. Okay, we have seen sea cliff, sea cave and sea stack. So slow by slow, one after the other, when it is getting eroded, even the pillar also gets flat. That is what is wave cut platform. Wave cut benches, terrace, flat surface found at the foot of the sea cliff. It looks like this. Okay, can you able to recall? We'll move on once again. Just a moment. Okay children, sea cliff. This is what is sea cliff. When the waves gets eroded, it just strikes the side of the rock and gets eroded. And again, when prolonged wave, it gets eroded and creates sea cave, make a hole. And sea arch, when two caves cut and strikes by the waves, all these get eroded and creates an arch. And when the arch gets eroded and further erosion, it creates sea stack. Finally, with the wave cut platform. Okay. The next gradation is depositional landforms of wave. We are going to see here beach, bar and spit. Beach. Sand and gravel gets deposited on the shore. That is what we call it as beach. You are very familiar and you are really interesting to play in beach, isn't it children? Look into the beach. Well, thank God. It's a very nice scenery, very nice to look also. The bar, deposit of sand, shingle, mud and parallel to shoreline. It looks like this. When the waves are just gets deposit all the sands on the shore, it creates a line parallel to the shoreline. The next view you see, this is how it gets deposited. It's called as a bar. spit. It's a ridge or embankment of sediments. It's common at the mouth of estuary. That is when the river, where the river gets connected to the sea. So all these gets deposited in the mouth of estuary. In the beginning I have told you that most of the deposition doesn't occurs in estuary. So all these will be eroded by the waves. But even with the light wave, when it gets deposited, it looks like this. This is what is spit. Now we are moving on to the homework session. Children, please do the homework with wholehearted. Learn the lesson. Learn with meaning. That is what we needed. Now open your book to mark the answers. We are going to mark the answer with the book. Take page 176. Here you are going to see sea cave and sea cliff. Mark both the thing and learn. That is your short answer. Next one in page 174. 174 we are going to see define moraine, Drumlin and Eska. We are going to define three. Okay. Mark moraine for the first point. Moraine with first point alone. Drumlin, you mark all the 3 lines. Eska, all the 4 lines. This is in page 174. The wind erosion in page 175. Okay. Mark only the headings. Mushroom rock, Insalberg, Jordan, the 3 things. Okay, ma. The next one is distinguish. The first distinguish in page 170. Okay, the first distinguish in page 175 with transverse dunes and longitudinal dunes. Mark fully and learn for the distinguish. Second also in the same page 175 with the Insalberg and Artis. Insalberg, you mark first 2 points. That is from Insalberg to mountain 4 lines and the second 4 line. Okay. And move on to Jordan fully. That is also in same page. The third one in page 176. With the difference between spit and bar. Mark fully spit and bar. Okay. To write the answer clearly, mark it, learn properly. Here I am giving you depositional work of wind. This is one detailed answer. It's in page 175 and 176. I have given same number, need not worry. Take page 175. Depositional work of wind. We have sand dune, Bhakshan, and turn the page to mark loess. Okay, loess. Need not worry about transverse dune and longitudinal dune. Mark only 3 things: sand dune, Bhakshan and loess. Turn the page to mark loess. Children, post your homework between 5 to 6 p.m. the same date, that is today evening. Well, we end today's lesson and also the whole lesson with this session. Thank you. God bless you all.